airplanes, everything was being inspected. It's like it seems on way
It's called James. I host this news every morning.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends. My lovely audience, welcome to the East West Show. Jack Chow on the East West with my dear friend, Mr. Chris Shahinian. Mr. Chris Shahinian is a Middle East expert, and I rely on him a lot for information out there and regarding issues over there in the pot. I call it a pot because it is a pot. All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack, for having me.
Now, in today's talk about the Iranian situation, we really have touched base with you about what's status quo now.
Well, number one, if we can go a week back, we were sitting at the same table.
Yeah.
We were over the brink of a war, you know.
Oh, by the way.
Yes.
One thing you said was absolutely right. And did you recall that you said you want to retaliate, you want to bomb us? Okay, we'll give you an area to bomb.
Yes.
Right? So they did bomb, right? We hide our people.
Yes.
So they bombed nothing. Well, of course, they did destroy some equipment and facilities, the ground base, on the ground surface, right? So you did it right.
Probably White House was watching our show, maybe. So they got some idea.
You are so right.
Yeah.
And you also said, do you recall that this is time diplomacy goes in?
Yes.
Right? So, okay, go ahead to your own.
And basically, what I was going to come to there exactly, that we had this discussion. We were 1 inch away from a war. And that day when I came here, a lot of people called me. My daughter even called me, Dad, we are going to the war. This is the end of it. I said, don't worry, it's not going to happen. They said, why? Because I'm going to a TV show. I'm going to talk about it. So
right.
What happened, it was a tense moment, by the way. It wasn't, but...
Very intense.
And knowing our situation in the United States and what's there, and my prediction was right. And I knew that, you know, we were not ready to full-scale war that day. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. That day, at that moment, we were not ready because we saw the anger of Iranian people. We saw their, you know, retaliation, you know, that they're going to die, they're ready to die. So if we took action, we have smart people in the White House, even though some people say, oh, Trump is idiot. No, Trump is not idiot. No, he's our president. Yes, today is going bad things happening, sad thing for our country, that impeachment process going to Senate. But some people, they don't like him, but he is the president of the United States. He did the right thing. If this was a Bush era, we could have gone to the war. But Trump
already.
Yeah. Trump showed great restraint. Even though he said, I'm going to retaliate, you know, he threatened. For the first time, he backed down from his words, saying, you know what? No.
He said what he wanted, but he ended up to the benefit of the nation.
And we have to give him credit for that.
Yeah, we really have to.
And that's what our show should be. When there's time to credit, we have to give it credit.
You know what I found out? During your Iraq War, during the moment of launching Iraq War is all, what we have, it is a very, very, very much less of a tension.
For sure, yes.
Right? But right now what you have is it's a really, really a big time.
And the big tension, if you go Iraq, I'm glad you mentioned the Iraq War. And by the way, yesterday during the Democratic debate, first question from CNN was, you know, about Iraq War, and all the candidates say, you know, they acknowledge that, you know, that was a big mistake. We went to Iraq, we destroyed the country, we had thousands of, you know, and we lost trillions of dollars, and what we're going to gain? You know, another, you know, war is going to come from that. So, and going back to a week make big changes, and I remember you called me, you were so also, it tense because,
You did predict it.
I did, and thanks God, that's the way our government acted. So that show a great power, actually. That the greatness of power. It's not when you can hurt somebody, when you control your anger. I think
You can control yourself.
yes,
That's another kind of power.
and that's
All
the
right.
power of the United States. And this,
Questions, though,
Yeah.
right? Did Iran at that moment want a war with us?
no,
No. Neither United States.
neither United States war. That's what I think.
No, knowing, in other words, if we read Donald Trump's mind, right, knowingly that neither United States nor Iran really want a war between each other, though, Donald Trump say, all right, you want revenge? Okay, let's do it. Something like that.
But what the major, if you look at the history, major wars that happen spontaneously by mistakes. If the airplane, that Ukrainian airplane, if there was an American airplane, for sure we could have gone different. But and I don't know why Ukrainian airplane was flying that day, time that major all airline they shifted. I don't know why it was doing, but
It collided into the hour.
yeah, I mean that was a
The exact hour.
so
right.
and luckily that was not American airline. That's so otherwise could have been different. But Iranians show great discipline in their leadership. They did what they had to do to cool down the situation.
Another question. Do you think at the time of launching missiles to hit our base, there was no interception? Missiles fired?
We didn't, because
To
number one,
to intervene it?
no, if we intervened, they're going to say, we failed, they're going to do another attack. We gave them that space. All right, we will prepare.
Let them succeed.
Let them succeed.
All right.
Because cooling down, the Iranian people, they have to cool down, otherwise could have been, bad. So we did very good thing,
You were right talking about the Iranian temper.
Yeah, and then it's everything cooled
Iranian
down
kind
now.
of temper.
And I live there. I know the people. So so that's why I think now for a period of time, it's going to be de-escalate. But it doesn't mean war ended, by the way. It's going to be different type of war. It's going to be the guerrilla type of war. It's going to be. And this, I was listening a speech for second in command in Iranian forces, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. He gave yesterday an hour, 10-minute speech. I listen in Arabic. I listened from A to end. The message between, he said, the way we force Israeli to go out of South Lebanon, we're going to do the same thing for Americans in Iraq and the Middle East. How they fight. I'm going to give you 1982. By the way, Israel is south of Lebanon. Lebanon is a very small country mixed with different ethnic group, Muslim, Christians, all this stuff. And 1975, civil war started in Lebanon. I born in Lebanon. So I was very young. I remember those days. And within a week, 1 week, the whole country changes from civil society to military zone. The whole country. Where the weapons came, how this thing changed, no one knows.
You have no idea.
I have no idea. But now that we look at history, it's people, they've been preparing for that, 1975 war. And what happened, there was a Palestinian back then threatening Israel territorial integrity, South Lebanon border. And guerrilla war started from Lebanon against Israel, Jewish state. And that ended in a conflict that 1982, Israel invaded South Lebanon to throw all the Palestinian guerrillas out, which they did. 1982, guerrilla goes out. Who comes in? Iranian militia. So Iranian came because, we can't live Israel freedom to use Arab territory. And they came to support few hundred guerrilla back then, Hezbollah guerrilla. Hezbollah got to fight against Israel. And Soleimani was back then not top general. He was fighting between Iran and Iraq war. He was soldiers. And immediately they appoint Soleimani to Lebanon to fight guerrilla war. Soleimani was part of building militia against Israeli. That few hundred militia became now military army, full equipped, 50,000 soldiers trained and
Yeah.
very
Very
strong,
well trained, yes.
very well trained,
Very well
very well
trained, yeah,
equipped. So it became a threat.
Let's take a moment out. We come back, we want to find out what if Iranians, the Iran, keep pressuring Israel and force Israel to do something stupid. So what would the United States do? That's what
We'll go
this
there.
is
We'll go there.
my worry come from. All right. Okay. We'll be right back, my dear friend.
Everything is
continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host this news every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences, my dear brothers and sisters, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome back. A chance talking about America. This East-West show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the master craftsman. Together, the name Wolfers stands as a testimony to the spectacular and the share of the royal glory. Back to the show. With me today is my dear friend, a wonderful commentator, a Middle East specialist, Mr. Chris Shahinian, former candidate for California Senate. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Sir, I thank you very much for your knowledge, for sharing your beautiful brain with your analysis, thorough analysis. Because like you said, you speak the language, you were born there, you know the people, you know the land, you know how you even know their kind of temper.
Yep.
Right, anyway, now, my concern, now that neither United States nor Iran to want to get involved in a war directly, how about indirectly? My question is that what if the Iranians keep pressuring Israel so that to a point when Israel does something stupid, what would happen? What would the United States do?
That was I was building about the case Hezbollah. Hezbollah is supported by Soleimani. He supported Hezbollah, so they became a strong army to threaten Israel. And 2 days ago, Israel army spokesman said Hezbollah is not threat to us. He is threat for our existence. So it was not just a threat it's to wipe them. Basically, they acknowledge that what Iran did was very effective. So now there's a fear among Israeli. So if they're going to take a step, they're going to know, because Hezbollah is a phone call away, to start bombing Israel.
Yeah.
So that tensions build up. It's been there for not new. I'm going to go back to 1948 when Israel, approved by United Nations to become nation. The whole Arab world, erupted. 1948. There was 3 wars since 1948. 1948, 1957, 1967, Abdel Nasser, general Egyptian, and then 1973 when Sadat was the president. 4 wars happened in there. So because they knew for Arab Israeli existence threat to them. But things change now. Iran became so powerful now. Iran is the one supporting Hamas, supporting Hezbollah, military, financially, everything you want, and training. And Iran was, fighting against Al-Qaeda and against ISIS that some American thinks, we created ISIS. And we created ISIS for what? To weaken Middle East so we can weaken. Why we have so much interest in Middle East? That's the question we should
But
know.
who had sold or backed up them with their supplies, with their weapons, with their armors, with everything?
Who?
The ammunitions.
Where it came from?
Yeah.
Well, Syria. So there was
They don't produce themselves, they do it.
no, Iranian, they are producing themselves now.
They are?
Everything they used last week, missiles, it was Iranian made. It wasn't Chinese made. It wasn't Russian made. It was Iranian made with Iranian engineer, Iranian money. So, so it wasn't, Russian weapons.
I thought they bought from Russia.
No. Everything they used, there was symbolic that. That's what, they didn't use any Russian equipment. They didn't use any Chinese equipment. So they can send a message that, we had the technology to fight a big war. And in a way, their message was right. Because they were able to produce a weapon precisely without having satellite in the air. So we have satellites we can control. Without having, B-52 bombers, they were able to target hundreds of miles and precisely with difference in 100 feet or
So
less.
what if using that, the abilities, they attack Israel?
That's why I think why United States backed down, President, because, when there was a meeting at the White House that day between Defense Secretary, between Pompeo, and President, all advisors, they said to Mr. Trump, all our military bases in Middle East, it's vulnerable. We have military base in Kuwait, Emirate, Dubai, everywhere, around Middle East, we have hundreds of military bases. And that threat was serious. We're not ready to defend now, so we expose. Let's take a moment. Let's not escalate this. Otherwise, they were going to hit, all our military bases.
Just
That's
to
gonna be
watch
disaster.
it to happen, right?
Yes.
But right now, I'm talking about we came to a balance, thank God.
Yes.
Right? Things are quiet down. One thing we know for sure that Iran will just take it easy forever.
No.
That they will still revenge, right? What if they change their strategy? They attack Israel to drag United States in.
That's not their interest.
That's my
this
concern.
Is what this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do. Because they don't want, their fight is now American. Because why Americans there? They know Americans supporting Israel. So they can't move Israel. Israel is nation. Americans they considered, foreign, occupier. If they're going to say, let's wipe Israel, that's not going to happen. So easiest one is, let's move American troops from Middle East so we can weaken Israel. Then we can control Israel. Then we can put conditions. We can, get Palestinians, their rights. So it'll be more safer Arab nation without American support in Middle East than what it is. Basically, this is what the behind the scene Iranian. I speak
In
Arabic.
other words, what you're saying is that the situation between Iran and the Palestinians and Israel is not going to be escalated.
No, but it's going to be different type of war because because I told you, no one likes big war. If they're going to fight directly war with United States, there's no match. Why there's no match? Because there's a picture I want to show you. You can show your audience that we spend $658 billion annually for our military. Iran spent $12 billion. You see the difference, the budget? So there's no comparison. And Iran knows that.
There's no comparison
And
at
Iranians
all,
know that they cannot fight direct big-scale war against the United States. That's not for their benefit.
All they can wage is a guerrilla war.
Yeah. Because
it's a mountain war.
and they were successful.
Yeah.
They were very successful in Lebanon. I lived that era. I was there in Lebanon when guerrilla fighters, they were killing Israeli soldier after soldier. Between 15 years in 1982, 1985 to 2000, the time that Israel went, 176 soldiers Israeli died. All they had to do, one soldier in a week to kill one soldier. It was enough. The Israelis say, you know what? We can't win this war. Let's move out of Lebanon. That's for them, it's pretext. It's a book with all, details. Exactly, they're going to do the same thing in Iraq. That's what Khamenei said, actually. And Hezbollah leader said yesterday, that's what we're going to do. We're going to kill you one by one. Basically, get ready for, roadside bomb, suicide bomb. By the way, in Iranian university now, I had to tell you, people are signing, you know what they're signing? For suicide bomber. They're ready to commit suicide to who? To our soldiers. So that's kind of war we're going to see.
That's even riskier.
Risky for our soldier. And then what they're going to do, they're going to make us, get tired, because we can't say, Iranian did, because it's, it could be anybody. So that's the war we're going to see next.
Just to think in a while, though, what if we back off? No more presence there.
We can't.
We can, what? I'm just thinking.
We can't. Let me tell you why. Because there's another picture I sent you. You can show our audience. You see the reason we are in Middle East. The reason we are, see the oil reserve that the earth has, that we are so precious for us now. And you see, wherever there's big oil, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Venezuela has oil. Oh, we have a problem there.
Problem, yes.
Libya has oil.
Oh, yeah, problem.
We have problem there. Iraq has oil. We have problem there.
Yeah.
Iran has oil. We have problem there. Oh, what's going on? And the reason we start war with Iraq, let me give you a reason. Because Saddam Hussein, back then president, he thought that by invading Kuwait, getting 150 billion barrel of oil, no one's going to say anything. He invaded Kuwait. So by invading Kuwait, he doubled his oil power. He doubled. And guess what? We didn't like that. That's why you say, no. If Saddam Hussein has the power to get Kuwait, double his oil reserve, and then next he's going to get Saudi Arabia, then that's it. So he's going to be the king of kings.
All right, let's take a moment out. When we come back, I really want to ask, we have for many times declared that we are oil sufficient.
Okay.
We can supply our own. Why do we still have to rely on the Middle East oil for that much? So
I can tell you
stay
that.
with us.
I can.
All right.
Everything expected. Straight. It's like seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host English news.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the East-West show that is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of master craftsmen. Together, the name of Wolfers stands for as his testimony to the spectacular and the share of the royal glory. Back to the show, back to my dear friend Chris Shahinian, former candidate for California Senate and a Middle East expert. He was born there, he knows the land and knows the people, he speaks the language, and we want to get answers from him. Why what happened had happened, right? Okay, now, my next question. For many times, we declare ourselves that we are sufficient of self-supporting.
True.
With our oil, especially with the what they call slanting technology.
Yeah.
Slanting technology, especially when after slanting technology, we are more than sufficient. Why are we still relying upon the Middle East for our oil?
Great question. I'm going to give you a little bit, some information. We're still relying on oil. Let me tell you why. Let me see where the oil is in our planet. So, and then you can figure out, oh, now we get it. So who has the most oil? Number one, oil reserve is Venezuela. They have 302 billion barrels, reserve. Second is Saudi Arabia, 266 billion oil. Third becomes Iran. As of 2018, they have 157 billion barrels. Now another 50 billion added, so they become second in the world largest. And then goes Iraq, 148 billion. And then goes to Libya, 48 billion. And then goes to Canada, 170 billion. Russia, 80 billion barrel you have. We have only United States, we have 35 billion barrels.
You mean our domestic production?
Yes, we have the reserve that we have. We don't have more. So we're not like Venezuela. We have 300 billion. If we had what Venezuela had it today, probably we're going to say Middle East, forget it. We don't need you guys. Now, as I said earlier, that's why we are so much in trouble where the oil is, because we still need the oil. Without oil, we cannot survive. So that's why we're spending $648
You're saying
billion.
that we are sufficient, but we do not have enough.
We don't have enough. That's what I'm saying to you. I wish we had the picture. You can show it to our audience. We don't have enough. If we had enough, that's what we are in Iraq, my friend. That's why we went to Iraq. That's why we're protecting Saudi Arabia. Why do we think we're protecting Saudi Arabia kingdom? Kingdom Saudi Arabia is the worst democracy there. There's a monarchy. There's they supporting Wahhabis. They're supporting Al Qaeda. They're supporting ISIS. How can we support that kind of kingdom? The answer is they have 266 billion barrel of oil, and we have agreement with Saudi Arabia since FDR, 1950s. So we can protect your kingdom. We can protect you, but you're going to give us the oil. You're not going to cut oil. Fine, let's sign an agreement. That's why after 9/11, the tragedy for the United States, 19 of the hijackers was Saudi Arabian. You know what we did that day? We put them in a plane, all the Saudi, send them back to their home without, doing anything. That's why? Because of the oil they have. When Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, immediately Bush said, you know what? We cannot allow anybody to have power on oil except the United States. We're not going to destroy. And we destroy Saddam Hussein. We destroy Iraq. That's what we are in Iraq now.
And in the meantime, we also recognize that not only United States needs oil, so does Russia, so does China, so does India, right?
Of course.
So you're talking about, it is forever needed there as their resources, right? And then there is no more, never peace to be expected for that area?
That's a great question. That this is my philosophy. We invested so much there, Jack. And I have to tell you, there's a military industrial complex. There's 3 million people work there. 3 million Americans, 3 million. If we stop war, if we stop interfering in the Middle East, what are we going to do with those 3 million people? Can you imagine Walmart shut down in the whole world? Can you imagine what happened to our economy? Our economy will go in 1 month, we're going to go, woo, down. So the same
All of a
thing,
sudden, yeah.
military industrial complex, they have that trillions of dollars every year we spend. There's 3 million people work there. We cannot. For them, war is necessary. For them, oil is important. That's what we are there. That's what I think until we have a major change for generation, we're going to be there because we have, as we speak, we have in the Middle East about 70,000 military, and that's going to add up more if conflict goes bad. But we're still going to be there next 40 years in the Middle East. That's been more conflict there.
But looking at the world now, has people realized more and more that we have a better job to do to create a peace rather than war? I mean, I'm talking about the trend. I'm talking about what is the major trend, right? So can somebody somehow do something? I just wish to stop it.
Unfortunately, that's a wish. That's a wish, everybody. That's
Only a wish.
That's even wish, a universal pageant, they say, no, we want the peace for the world. Jack, that's not reality.
Will not happen.
If we have 3 million people working for the industry, unless we shut down that industry, that war will continue. And not the United States. Now, China is building similar. China military budget is jumped from small billions now, $250 billion China spend in military.
But we're
It's
over
coming.
60. We're over 600.
But they coming. Chinese, they coming basic. They showing some muscle. They showing some technology. They showing some power. So, and that's going to be more interesting coming years. It's not going to go down. It's not going to happen. No, let's go come together. China, Russia, and United States. You know what? Let's eliminate our defense. That's not going to happen. It's going to be the opposite. Saudi Arabia, in the last 10 years, Saudi Arabia, a small nation, Last year, they spent $60 billion for $60 billion for a nation for small. Why? Because tension is building in the Middle East. There's coming war. If there's weapons going there, what's going to happen, Jack? It's going to war. And yes, our policy, United States, we don't want war. We don't want democracy. Under democracy, we do so many things that it's not democratic.
But democracy has a price. Has a huge price. We know that, right?
And I have to tell you, we didn't went to Iraq for democracy. We didn't went to Iraq for finding a weapon of destruction. That
we didn't fight the Iraq war. Has the price gone cheaper?
No. And we're going to pay.
We didn't find any Afghanistan war. Has the price gone cheaper?
But-
and now Iran with the Iran, the Lebanon everywhere, there has oil though. The oil price has never been dropped lower, remains, if not even increasing. So what happened?
Well, I hate to be negative, but I think coming years we're going to see small wars in the Middle East. It's not going to be big, scale war, but I have to say our military industrial complex, they cannot cut down their budget. They're asking for more money, basically more military conflicts ahead of us. Basically, that's what I see. Maybe some people say, "Oh, Chris, you are exaggerating." No, our politicians, they want peace. Look at the history. Look at the history. We are around the world everywhere.
In another analysis, we found out last time I had a talk with the Commander Shamas of former U.S. Navy. Right, he told me a number that surprised me. He says that in the world there's more than 2,000 presence as a military base in the world of the United States.
absolutely true. And if I send you a couple of pictures, I wish I can show you audience to show where we have troops. We have troops in Puerto Rico. We have troops in Greenland. We have troops in Canada. We have 55,000 in Japan. We have in Hawaii, South Korea, 26,000. Guam we have. Australia we have troops. Thailand, Singapore, Philippines. I mean, we have everywhere around the world. We have United Kingdom, we have 9,000 soldiers. Italy, we have 12,000. Germany, we have 35,000. Belgium, we have army. Norway, Netherlands, Greece, Portugal, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Bahrain, Kuwait. We have everywhere.
Well, that's why he says over 2,000 military base.
That's what I'm saying.
That's stretching our dollar to very thin. Do we need that?
Yesterday, Elizabeth Warren said something that we need to cut the military budget. I guarantee you that statement is going to cost her election. That's going to cost her election because there's an army, there is a huge, congressman group that they don't like that. They're going to cut her down because you cannot make that kind of statement, because 3 million people work with that industry with $1 trillion budget annually. 1 trillion, close to 1 trillion, over half it. So they're so powerful, Jack. They're so powerful they can buy any candidate they want for Senate, Congress, mayor, anyone they can buy. They can pay your campaign money from A to Z. If you go against them, guess what?
All right,
You have no chance.
So, all right. Well, I start to understand. When they say Middle East is a pot, it's a burning pot, right? And they have been fighting there amongst themselves with or without foreign efforts, right?
Yeah.
They fight for them amongst themselves anyway. So let them keep fighting. As long as we keep ourselves benefited from it, that's okay. That is okay. But the thing is that with that hanging on, it really, really threatens the world peace. The world peace. We have more refugees, more war refugees than any kind of refugees in the world now.
Let me tell you, when people start thinking about war, they measure everything. They measure about the casualty, they measure about refugees, and they measure everything. But guess what? They don't care. They don't care about refugees. They don't care about children dying, in a street. They don't care. All they care about their power. Look at the history. It's not something new, Jack. People like to get in power and control, and unfortunately, poor people suffer. Civilians are suffer. All war.
So
look at it.
last thing to mention, will the Iranian-U.S. situation remain as it is right now? If something going to happen, what kind of predictions you want to make?
Guerrilla war is going to be next. No face-to-face army-to-army war. Iranian, they're going to support Iraqi government so they can stand on their feet to take 5,000 American troops out. Hezbollah is going to be very active now, starting assassination, killing, and between Israel and Lebanon, that's another level of escalation. If control goes out of control a little bit, Hezbollah is ready to fight with all his weapons against Israel. That's big escalation. It's not going to happen. It's going to come, small war in here, and the United Nations is going to come with a resolution, 505, ceasefire. That's what's going to see next 10 years. I think that's acceptable then, going to sending our troops there.
Right now, all we can do is to keep our fingers crossed that we have so far the Iranian-United States war prevented.
Yes, but we're going to see, you're going to get on that. So watch the news, you're going to see 2 soldiers die here, 5 soldiers die here, mortar attack here. That's kind of what we're going to see.
Yesterday, there were 3. Right. Okay, my dear friends, let's take a moment out. We come back to continue find out what's wrong with the impeachment. Stay with us, please.
Everything
We continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host English news every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
But domestically, what we see today, just now I had a show with Ken Hemming. Oh, by the way, he said hello to you,
Good.
talking about the impeachment, right? And of course, he had his comment about the impeachment. You're a Democrat. From your point of view, not from a partisan point of view, though, how do you view this impeachment?
Number one, this is a sad day for our history. For the last 250 years, this is the third time that we have impeached a president. It's not a good thing. It's a very bad thing. Bad thing for our country. And we went through during the recent history for Bill Clinton. It wasn't that bad, let me tell you. It was bad for our presidency, but President Clinton continued to do his work.
Yeah.
He was impeached, but he didn't removed. So he continued.
He apologized.
He apologized. He moved on, and he became one of the good presidents in our history.
Yeah. The economy brought up. He brought the economy up.
But now, situation is different. Number one, I have to say, our nation is divided 50-50.
You're right.
And not only divided
You're right,
on philosophy.
You're right.
We can divide, ideology, but divided, there's anger, there's a hate beyond control.
That's why the AP news analysis had it this morning saying that even though impeachment had happened in history for several times, but this one happens at a election year at a time when the country is so divided.
That's what I think. It's a sad.
That is very
dangerous. Sad day for us. I'm not President Trump fan,
Me
but
neither.
he's the president of the United States. He did mistake. Who didn't? Show me anybody. Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, of
Look
course.
at him.
Yeah.
George Washington. All they did.
Yeah.
And the only difference is this president is, since the day he got elected, he won the election, big chunk of group, they promised to take him down. That was a mistake. And Democrats, they're going to pay that price. And then guess what? President Trump is going to be re-elected because of the impeachment. Because I was visiting a family yesterday, regular family in Lancaster area. They told me that they would support, normally they support Democrat. But now, there's no way, they're shifting.
Yeah.
I mean,
lots
why?
of people are doing that.
Because what they have done, they could have done more differently.
Yes,
they could have
yes,
done,
you're
you
right,
know,
you're right, you're
they
right.
could have done, you know, differently, you know.
right.
But no, they were vicious. They crossed all the lines, you know.
Yeah,
they crossed ethic line. Yes, Trump is not.
Lots of people
Yeah.
are kind of like
Trump,
shifting.
Trump is not an angel.
From
he
the
did
right to
so
the
many
right, to the
things
left
wrong.
to the right.
But that call that, you know, give me favor, hanging on that one sentence, you know, guess what? I need a favor. Come on. That was like, you know, foolish from our Democratic side. And impeachment was not right thing to do. It was better thing if we could have said, Democrat, you know what? Yes, President did wrong. But you know what? We're going to go to election and then let the people vote. Then the whole thing could have changed. People will come more toward Democrat. Yeah, that's kind of leadership we want. Now we lost that leadership, unfortunately.
All right.
And Trump is going to
Okay,
win.
my dear friends, that concludes the show today. I thank you very much for your analysis and also for your final wrap-up of that kind of statement. We know that for sure that we are confident, people confident, at least some people are confident that Donald Trump is going to be re-elected and this country economy is going to still grow, which is the most important thing. All right? So my dear friends, thank you very much for watching. And to Chris, thank you very much
Thank you.
for helping
Thank you.
me. Yeah, thank you.